Hey, everybody, this is Leslie, and you're listening to the interview with Leslie Heaney. It is July 14th. I've had a great summer so far. I must say I'm turning into a human rosé bottle and perhaps a brick of cheese. But other than that, it's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed this summer series and talking to people about all their favorite secret spots in different summer communities. Today, or we're releasing really tomorrow, but you're listening today, we are featuring one of the world's favorite islands, Nantucket. And to walk us through all of her favorite spots is Ashley McCormick. She's the founder of the lifestyle brand Asha. And Ashley is a lifelong summer resident of Nantucket. She also just opened a new Asha store there. And Ashley and I talk about all of her favorite spots, favorite restaurants, places for lunch, her coffee place, great outings and activities to do with kids, where she likes to stay, her favorite beach. She did realize after she shared it that she's a little hesitant about that because she doesn't want her beach to get too crowded, but it's already out there. The genie's out of the bottle. So she talks about what her favorite beach is. And Ashley's also a panelist this week for Nantucket Design Week. So if you're on Nantucket right now or you're planning a visit this week, be sure to buy tickets. It sounds like a great series of events and speakers. I think Martha Stewart's their keynote speaker, so that's sure to be an exciting event happening on Nantucket this week. My conversation with Ashley made me want to drive to Hyannisport and jump on the next ferry. So hopefully, after listening, you all may be right there with me. I'm so excited about this week's sponsor, the 10 Mile Distillery. 10 Mile is an American single malt distillery based in the Hudson Valley, about 90 miles north of New York, and it is the maker of the award-winning Little Rest whiskey, made through a slow distillation process with all New York State grains by master distiller Shane Fraser from Scotland. And when I say award-winning, I mean it's earned a 95 out at the whiskey competition in San Francisco and a 96 at the New York International Spirits Competition. This is delicious. If you do not believe me about how delicious this is, the good news for you is that if you're in the New York area, you can go visit this incredible and beautiful distillery yourself. It's set among the most beautiful apple orchard with beautiful views of the mountains behind. Stop by for a leisurely tour or tasting, or even enjoy an expertly crafted cocktail. They also have gin and vodka available. They also have this incredibly delicious Thai restaurant that is in residence there from Thursday through Sunday. To learn more about the distillery, you can visit them at 10miledistillery.com/the-interview. All orders will receive 10% off if you put in promo code the-interview at checkout. So go to www.10miledistillery.com/the-interview to get that discount, that 10% off. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So here's Ashley McCormick. Ashley, it's so nice to see you, to formally, officially meet you. I'm so grateful to you for coming on the pod to talk about Nantucket.
So nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
So before we get into all of your favorite places there, I thought it'd be really interesting for listeners to kind of hear more about your story and Asha, your incredible brand they've created. It's not just jewelry, but clothing and all sorts of things. So I thought we could kind of, kick it off with that and then do a deep dive into one of our favorite islands.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that kind intro. So I have been doing this for 20 years now, which is wild. I started in college. I was an art history major at Georgetown. I was always sort of entrepreneurial, dating back to even like my middle school and high school days. But in college, studying art history and actually studying abroad for my junior year, I was in Florence and Paris, which was kind of like being in living museums that whole year. I really got started with Asha. And Asha, by the way, is a nickname that my Cuban grandparents gave me when I was little because Ashley does not roll off the tongue in Spanish. So that's where that comes from. But anyway, I was making jewelry for fun, and I met the head of fine jewelry for Chanel at a dinner party in Paris, serendipitously. And he connected me with a goldsmith in Paris. So in between my classes at La Sorbonne, I was making jewelry, my first pieces. And that's really where it all began. And
I was so struck when I read that, because I know what I was doing my senior year in college, and I was so impressed that you were sort of inspired, right, by your surroundings from what I had read, and really took the initiative to just get started. I think at such a young age is incredibly impressive.
Thank you. I mean, I really was just doing something I loved and fell into it and kept pursuing it. And I think naivete was sort of my best friend at that age because I just kind of like kept going and kept trying. And by the time I graduated, I had opened some accounts with different stores like Henry Bendel and Saks and Calypso back in the day.
Yeah.
So I had a little business that was up and running, and I just decided to keep going. And here we are 20 years later, which is wild. And I, in a way, feel like I'm almost just starting because we've kind of reached this moment where we're a lifestyle brand, different categories, because I started with jewelry and then, have gotten into accessories and apparel now. So it's super exciting and opening stores.
Yeah, I know it's really exciting. And it's funny. I love what you just said about naivete because it is true. Like, I think I went and I spoke at a friend's college class, and I said to the college students, people want to help and mentor young people in their careers. And so meeting that, the head of jewelry at Chanel and him connecting you is just that's just such a great story and such a great example of that.
Well, I tell people all the time, like, really ask for help. You never know, where it will lead. And for me, I asked for the help, and this man was so generous and kind, and he connected me with someone. And, that was the beginning of my story.
So great. Our 13-year-old was at a barbecue. He's obsessed with cryptocurrency. And I guess there was someone there who's like some cryptocurrency, I don't know, expert or magnate or something. And they're emailing now. And I said to him, you never know where these things will lead.
Exactly. So, you got to try. You got to ask the question, ask for the order, and you'll see what happens.
So you are, as you mentioned, you've expanded into sort of a lifestyle brand now, right? And you're opening stores, and we're talking Nantucket today, and you've opened a store in Nantucket.
Yes, it's a dream. Nantucket is such a special island for me. I grew up going there since I was a baby. So to open a store there is really this full circle moment for me. And we're on Federal Street, and we have a little jewel box of a store. It was years in the making, and finally found the right spot and went for it. And we opened Memorial Day weekend, and it's been incredible.
Oh, that's so you have been, that this has been sort of part of your, or a goal or a dream of yours to have a store there.
Definitely. I mean, I have a great client base there. I've done trunk shows for years. The ultimate goal was to be able to represent all the collections in one beautiful space that really, speaks to the collection and the ethos of the brand. Yeah, it was exciting to be able to find this spot on Federal Street, and it's on the corner, and we have beautiful light, and my mom helped me decorate the store. So it really was a labor of love.
Oh, that is so awesome. That's super exciting and really gratifying, particularly because you have this, this long, family relationship with the island.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a house in Monomoy growing up, so it's just always been a place that is so near and dear to my heart. And now we bring our children to the island, so it's just the best.
All right, let's talk. Well, since we're going to do the Nantucket deep dive, I think probably people who are thinking about going, the first thing they might want to know from you, and sort of like an insider tip or hacks, is like, what's the fastest or easiest way, or your most preferred way of getting there?
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So I am old school, and a lot of people will disagree with me, but I love to drive to Hyannis and take the ferry. We did that growing up, and it's like ceremonial for me. So I think a lot of people might hear that and roll their eyes because obviously it's so easy to fly. It's much easier to fly, but it really depends. Next week, I'm going to the island for Nantucket by Design. I'm in Greenwich right now. So I will fly from Westchester. That's such an easy flight. But, if we're gearing up for a week with the whole family, we'll drive, we load our cars, we take the ferry, and that's that. That's how we get here.
And you have to make a reservation, right, for the car piece, which...
Oh, yes. You have to do that far in advance. The
Way in
advance. Sells out. Yeah, you've got to mark your calendar for, when those reservations open up. But sometimes we'll leave cars and just take the ferry. It depends. It's a whole variety of like what ferry reservation you can get. And there aren't many boats that take the cars across, and it's limited. Everything's limited.
Yeah, and I also think, in my experience, that the plane game is not always because you can get fogged in very often
True.
in
True.
Nantucket.
True. And I've
Um,
been on a very foggy, on a plane where there was so much fog, you could not see up from down from anywhere where you were. And I kind of said, I'm never doing this again. Um, but I mean, there are so many ways. There's the Sea Streak ferry that you can take from, I believe, New Bedford.
I
You
was
can
going to
fly
say,
to New Bedford.
yeah, New Bedford has one, right, too, which is a little bit
Yeah.
closer and less, maybe a little less traffic than getting to Hyannisport, depending on where you're driving from.
Yeah. So there's a variety of ways to get to the island. But like I said, my sort of favorite is to drive to Hyannis and take the ferry.
I love it. Okay, so you're on island now. You are not, let's say you're not staying with a friend or you don't have a home there. What are some of your favorite places to stay?
So Graydon House, I've been staying at a lot. I love it. It's kind of a dark, cozy little inn. It's right by the store. So I will stay there a lot when I'm doing little, short, quick trips. The White Elephant is great. The Faraway is cute. The Wawinit is beautiful, timeless classic. A little bit farther away. Just depends, what kind of Nantucket experience you're looking for.
Right, if you want to be kind of in town or having more of a what kind of resort experience where there's a pool and things like that, right? You'd want to figure out what you're looking for. And then is it the summer house in Nantucket? Does that have rooms? Is that a place?
Summer house in Wisconsin has tiny little cottages. I've never stayed in them. They're really tiny, but they're adorable.
Well, a friend of mine got married, a very close friend of mine got married there years ago. And that's where we stayed in an inn. I remember that they had, and I didn't know if that's still a fun place to sort of be, but that is.
I love going there for dinner. I love the summer house for dinner. I've not stayed at the summer house, but I'm sure it's lovely.
Okay, so you've got your in-town spots, and the White Elephant is kind of
that's a great spot.
That's sort of, yeah, and that's kind of right there in town too, but it also has maybe some more amenities, like it has a restaurant than some of the smaller.
A restaurant, it's got a pool. It also has the residences, which are sort of like standalone rooms. Yeah, so White Elephant is a great choice too.
All right, so you're staying there or wherever you're staying, and you looking for a place. I want to talk restaurants with you, and I know there's so many options.
Yeah.
Maybe like starting with like classics that you wouldn't want to miss. Like if it was your first time coming to Nantucket or you had a great friend that was coming and said, where do I have to go? Or where's a classic place in Nantucket to go? What would be your recommendation?
So my favorite is Ventuno. Love Ventuno. I think it has the best kitchen on the island. The back bar sort of gets lively later in the night. So that's a super fun spot. I love Crew, which used to be the old rope walk back in the day. That's so beautiful. I love having a glass of rosé at the bar there, looking out at the harbor, all the boats. American Seasons is another amazing restaurant we love. What else? Gosh, there are so many.
What about like the breakfast spot? You're getting up, you want to go get like a greasy spoon breakfast or like a really good breakfast.
Island Kitchen is good. Lemon Press is good. I'm always at the Hub. You'll find me at the Hub getting my coffee in the morning. I'm actually not a huge breakfast person, but I'm a big coffee
person.
Girl.
Is the Hub like the place to go on the coffee front?
For me, the Hub is the place to go for coffee. Yes.
And then lunch spots. I love that sandwich, like the sandwich place. Something Natural, I think, is really fun, right?
Something Natural is classic. Fresh is really good. I love Fresh. Provisions is amazing. We love to go to Bartlett's Farm and kind of get tomatoes and lettuce and cold cuts and Portuguese bread, something natural, and make our own sandwiches and kind of make a picnic and go to Ladies. Crew again is fun for lunch.
And Ladies is a beach, just for people, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Ladies is
no, we're gonna do a deep dive on the beach.
Ladies is my favorite. That's my favorite beach. The Galley is really great for lunch. Also, obviously, for dinner and cocktails at sunset.
You mentioned the summer house for cocktail.
Dinner.
Oh, for dinner. Okay.
Yeah.
What about
also Toppers at Wawinit is beautiful, and having cocktails on the lawn there is quite an experience.
There was some place that I went a few years ago. It was kind of in the sand on the beach, and it was kind of casual.
Sandbar?
Maybe it was Sandbar. Is that good? It wasn't. I don't know if it was. The food wasn't sort of great, but we had kids with us. Our kids were
Yes. So
younger.
Sandbar is awesome. The
Okay.
food is actually amazing.
Okay.
Really good food. Yeah. So that's kind of like a little bit more down and dirty. I mean, you can kind of like be on the beach and go in for lunch. You can even go for dinner. I think they close at like 7. So it's kind of like an early dinner with kids.
That's what I think we did, was like early dinner with kids, and they kind of ran around. And but I thought it was a cool, listen, you'll do anything when you have young kids to kind of have them.
Definitely.
Where you can have a cocktail, but still
easy. They have picnic tables. They have live music. That's a great option when you're with kids.
Any other cocktail spots that you feel like are fun, like the boat thing?
Sistership is great.
Okay.
Just a faraway hotel. So I mentioned Galley, Crew, Ventuno.
And then speaking of cocktails, but putting a little twist on it, no pun intended, what's the place? You're going to know it. It's where all the chicken box is.
The chicken box.
Where there's like, it's like there's a stage and there's like, there's live music,
like,
and they had music
was like
there.
An era ago when I was at the chicken box, but fun to hear that you were there for 50th.
I think it was really like a sort of a retro moment there, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely like college kids or going to the chicken box.
Don't they have live music there for like?
Yeah, they have live music.
Yeah.
Oh, Cisco Brewery is another fun one.
Oh, Cisco Brewery,
live music.
And then you mentioned that Bartlett's Farm. Are there any farmers markets or farm stands or things that like that? Or that's kind of the go-to place for things?
Yeah, there are some little farm stands, but for me, like Bartlett's is kind of the place to go.
I'm so excited about my latest sponsor, Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth's bamboo sheets are temperature regulating and guaranteed to give you the best night's sleep you've ever had. They're made from viscose from bamboo, and they naturally wick away heat and moisture from your body, allowing you to sleep several degrees cooler. Now, for ladies of a certain age, like myself, who may be experiencing night sweats, those several degrees cooler make all the difference. They alleviate your symptoms, and they help you sleep through the night. My Cozy Earth sheets have literally changed my life and my husband's too. We just arrived at our summer rental, and we have a temperamental Nest thermostat in our room. So I've been tossing and turning, just dreaming about my cool Cozy Earth sheets back at home. Cozy Earth sheets not only keep me cool and allow me to sleep like a baby, but they're also the softest sheets I have ever owned. It feels like you are sleeping on a cool cloud. I could not love this product more. Another amazing thing about Cozy Earth sheets is that you get a free 100-night sleep trial. So you can try them for 100 of the hottest nights this summer. And if you're not in love with them, you can return them hassle-free. But trust me, you will not want to return these sheets. So upgrade your summer and your life, frankly, and go to CozyEarth.com. Use the code INTERVIEW at checkout for 40% off temperature-regulating sheets, apparel, and more. Trust me, you're going to feel the difference the first night. That's CozyEarth.com. Use the code INTERVIEW for 40% off. Sleep cooler, lounge lighter, stay cozy. All right, so you mentioned ladies. Any other beaches and which section is lady or area is ladies in Nantucket? Remind me.
Ladies is sort of like by Cisco, by Bartlett's Farm. So you take Hummock Pond Road to get there.
Okay. And any other faves on what is it about ladies that you love the most?
For me, it's just my favorite. I love the dunes. It doesn't get too busy. So don't tell. I hope not too many people see that.
Maybe that is, I was interviewing this other friend about this summer series, and she was giving her antiquing spots, and she's like, oh geez, I don't know if I want.
I know, don't tell too many people.
Reveal, the ladies reveal.
For me, driving to ladies, like the path, I actually had a little painting done of that beach path. And I mentioned earlier when we were chatting before we started that Claiborne Swanson Frank is a great friend in common to you as well. She has shot campaigns for us, and we have shot on that path to Ladies Beach. It's just so special to me. But I love kind of the lead up to getting to the beach there. And like I said, the dunes and just everything about it. I love it. Not too busy. And then let's see what other beaches.
But what about, so for beaches when you go, because it is kind of you have to plan, right?
It's a journey. It's a journey.
Right?
Yeah.
There's air out of the tires. There's also Do you need the beach passes? Am I getting this right? In certain cars?
Well,
Or
certain beaches you do. Ladies, you're not driving onto the beach, but there are beaches like Great Point, that's where you're going to let the air out of your tires
okay.
and get the sticker. Nope Deer is another beach
Okay.
you have your car on. Like that's the beach where I went as a teenager all the time. So yeah, so you don't need that sticker for all the beaches, but I'm sure there's like you can search it
Go
up
online and like figure out.
and find what beaches, require where you can drive on and require the sticker.
So the other thing about Nantucket, in my experience, which is very limited compared to yours, obviously, but bikes, there's a lot of bike paths, bike riding, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you can, and I think you can probably rent bikes, right? If you want, or make the hotels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you can rent bikes right as you get off the ferry, the steamship. There's a ton of bike shops right there. You can bike anywhere and everywhere on Nantucket, pretty much. There are bike paths all over. You take the Milestone Road. You can bike to Sconset, or the Pulpus bike path is really beautiful. So yeah, it's definitely very bike friendly. Kids, adults, every age, you're on bikes. Our kids are on bikes the whole time.
And are there like hikes or walks that you love doing?
Honestly, like myself, don't do too many hikes on Nantucket, but I have friends that love to do that, kind of like near off of the Cliff Road. There are definitely some hiking trails that you can take. But I'm generally like on a bike or at the beach or in town.
You're at Ladies. We've just exposed you
ladies.
as a ladies lover.
Ladies.
So we mentioned Sandbar, but there's also, for people that have young kids, there's Children's Beach, right?
Children's Beach, yeah, and that has a playground. So that's for like really little kids.
Right.
So my littlest, Serena, is 2 right now. So we're like at Children's Beach a lot. They've got a playground with swings and very shallow water that you can, easily kind of bring a baby by.
Yeah. And I think there's like, is there a coffee shop where there's a place like right next to it, right?
Yeah, there's a little spot where you can order some food and drinks.
What about things like ice cream? Like, is there the kids conversation reminded me of that. Is there like a favorite ice cream spot?
If you talk to our kids, there's one place and one place only, and that's the juice bar.
Okay.
So that's where we go. It's also ceremonial. You have to get to the island and have your first juice bar within the first 24 or 48 hours for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, remind me, isn't there so I want to talk stores too. Obviously, Asha's one of your favorite stores, but other stores that are your favorites. And I think you reminded me of it when we're talking about ice cream, but isn't there like a old hardware store or like that has like, not hardware store, but more like
the pharmacy. The
pharmacy. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you can order like an ice cream or a milkshake there. It's totally old school. And my favorite shops are honestly like the old tried and true, like Murray's Togglery, where you can get your Nantucket Reds. Love the pharmacy. Love the looms, Nantucket looms. They make these gorgeous mohair and cashmere blankets that are just absolutely beautiful. I have them in our home in Connecticut. Alice Walk is our neighbor right on Federal Street.
Is Alice Walk a clothing store or a...
Clothing, yeah.
Clothing, okay.
And then Sylvia's Antiques is amazing for light ship baskets. They have vintage ones. They have new ones. That's one of my favorite spots too.
And then any sort of other, art galleries or sort of favorite spots that you love to visit that would be fun for people to kind of browse through?
There are little art galleries sort of all around. I love the Whaling Museum. Such a great place to go on like a Gray Lady day when it's gray and rainy. Gray Lady, as they call her. The Light Saving Museum is also another great place to take kids. I mean, honestly, anyone of any age.
I'm sorry, Ashley, said the life-saving?
The Life Saving Museum on the Pulpus Road is beautiful. It's the location itself is gorgeous and you can bike there. And then also, the inside of the museum is
so what does it have when you say life-saving? Is it sort of...
It really kind of goes into the history of lighthouses and like the rescue boats.
That's what I was thinking.
The history of
of that. Well, it kind of makes sense because of the history of Nantucket as a whaling.
Yeah. Well, the history
whaling
of
island.
Nantucket itself, with the whaling history is just so fascinating. And the Whaling Museum, to me, is just one of the coolest places. And you can learn all about, the captains, voyaging out to go whaling. And I always tell friends, take your kids because there's this sort of fascinating, horrifying part of the history where they would take a young child out to sea on these whaling expeditions because that young child could actually fit in the mouth of the sperm whale to access the oil, that they were
harvesting. Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
Was that sort of like a kamikaze mission? Did the child get out? I've never.
It's wild that actually happened and that it's part of their history, but it's fascinating nonetheless. The whole history of the captains and the whaling and all of that. For me, I think is so interesting, and I think kids love it too. So the Whaling Museum is definitely at the top of the list for a rainy day.
Oh, for sure. And so you reminded me to ask about this as we're talking about whaling and stuff, but boats and boating. Do people go out on boats a lot? Is there a place to rent boats or fishing, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. So my husband is a big fisherman and my stepson, and they love to do charters with Captain Corey. Write that down, Captain Corey. He's one of the best.
I have to tell you, I feel like I've heard of Captain Corey and I don't know why.
You might have. He's great. So they'll go out of Nantucket and do fishing charters. And then you can charter boats. We actually are chartering, or we did for our photo shoot, and are chartering again for a little cocktail cruise, Endeavor, which is a beautiful vintage sailboat. But there are definitely like many ways to get out on the water, and I highly recommend it.
There's also some surfing in Nantucket too, right? Are there some beaches?
Yeah, there's a surf school, a lot of surfing on Cisco Beach.
Right. And one of my very best and oldest friends, and my godson is on Nantucket right now, so I'm watching him on Instagram, and he's bird watching. He's a bit into bird watching, and they have a whole, and apparently that's, I guess, something to do.
I didn't know about the bird watching, but hey, sounds great.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I'm like, is he have binoculars? He's bird watching. So I know the Nantucket Film Festival, I think, was earlier this summer, or there was some event around it with the 50th anniversary of Jaws. This is, again, I'm getting all my information from Instagram. So I think that's correct. And is that something that happens every year? And any other like interesting, some fun summer events that you...
Wow, well, Film Festival, I believe, happens every year. Nantucket by Design is coming up. That's next week. And I'll be there for that for the first time. So I'm super excited. Miranda is co-hosting a little cocktail party in our new store.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're sponsoring or co-sponsoring a panel moderated by Miranda with some amazing decorators like Caroline Gadir. Martha Stewart is a keynote speaker. So a lot of exciting things around Nantucket by Design. Boston Pops is a big, annual event on the island. And I mean, there's Stroll, that's December.
Actually, isn't there a wine thing like in May or something, or yes. A wine weekend? Am I getting that?
There's a wine festival in May. There's Daffy weekends in April. There are so many fun events. So
what is Daffy weekend?
Daffy is sort of the kickoff to the season. It's Daffodil weekend.
Oh, so, Daffodil. Okay.
They call it Daffy. Yeah.
And, when we were talking about walks, I just think is so beautiful about Nantucket. And we talked about its history of whaling history, are these old houses, like these beautiful houses just in the downtown area of Nantucket, sort of walking those cobblestone streets. Are there any streets that you think are kind of must see or have sort of special these or things? Yeah.
Well, Main Street, some of those gorgeous federal style houses that belong to some of the captains, those are quite beautiful and stunning. And, you can take the side streets like Orange Street and Milk Street, and those are charming houses. I mean, honestly, you can just get lost and just walk around and be surprised at the beauty around every corner.
I know. It is so beautiful. It really is so beautiful. So
Sconset, you mentioned walking around Sconset and seeing all of those tiny cottages, that date back to the 1800s. My dad actually used to summer in some of those tiny cottages in the 50s.
I just saw Peter Penoyer, who has been on the podcast, was posting, he's out in Nantucket, maybe it was last week, and he was featuring some of those old fisherman cottages and just talking about the history of them. And I guess they were used as kind of shelters for the fishermen out in Sconset who would go just in the fall and the spring just to kind of, if the weather turned. Mm-hmm. But now they've obviously become houses and people have added to them. And it was interesting. He gave a little backgrounder on that they were originally
they're
kind of sheltered.
fascinating, and they're just so charming. And a lot of them are rose covered. They're just beautiful to behold and tiny. You can't even believe people like really stay in them or live in them because the ceiling height must be, I don't know, 6 feet or, they're tiny.
It is sort of like a
Frodo, higher than 6 feet, but they're tiny.
Some Frodo Baggins houses out there for sure. So we talked about the chicken box, which might be retro. That might be like saying you're going to Dorian's in New York.
Yeah.
But any other kind of fun places for like a drink after dinner, or like, is there any bar people go to later or any kind of nightlife situation?
So I'm probably the worst person to ask about like late night spots. But like I said, Ventuno Back Bar is probably like one of our favorite places to go. There is a place, and I'm forgetting the name, where they have like live music and it's kind of super lively at night in town. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Isn't there a place, is it shaped like a train car? Again, this might be like a Dorian.
I mean, that's a fun spot. Oh, but also Straight Wharf is fun.
Okay. Like downtown.
Yeah.
Anything else that like is your favorite thing about Nantucket, or like a little secret thing, or a place, or a berry picking, or anything that's sort of that we didn't cover, that's one of when you go every summer that you kind of look forward to doing?
Yeah, gosh, I feel like I covered kind of most of my favorites, but I just in general love how you can wake up on Nantucket and kind of be in a sweatshirt. It can be crisp in the morning, and then by afternoon you've got that like sunlight, and you're I'm biking to Ladies, we're probably driving to Ladies, with our sandwiches from Fresh or from Bartlett's, and dipping in that freezing cold ocean, and then, drying off in that humid heat. And then, getting home, showering, and like either getting ready to barbecue at home if we're, in a house. Oh, Nantucket Meat and Fish is awesome. That's a great place if you're, in a house or renting a house and you're grilling at night. Nantucket Meat and Fish is incredible.
Any other markets for shopping? I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't ask about that.
Bartlett's and Nantucket Meat and Fish are our favorites for sure.
So you've opened this store in Nantucket. Tell us what's next for Asha. What do we have on the horizon? It's so exciting how you're expanding into all of these new areas and categories, and everything you're doing is just so beautiful and chic. Yeah. And tell me what are you thinking about? What's your next?
What's next?
Next dream.
So we're based in Greenwich. We opened our store in Palm Beach last September, and then just opened Nantucket, and we're experiencing just this tremendous, exciting growth. So I think, maybe searching for other locations to open other stores. I'm sort of constantly trying to balance motherhood with work and that whole balance.
Yeah.
But I think just continuing to do what we're doing and sort of expanding on that lifestyle brand and creating that experience for clients where they can sort of step into one of our spaces and really understand the brand and the brand values and just bringing the aesthetic to life.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do next. I can't wait. I'm hoping I can get a Nantucket visit in this summer. I try to every year because it is one of my favorite places on earth. But, as you've learned from this conversation, it sounds like I go to the same old haunts. So I'm so glad I've got some new recommendations from you. And I can't wait to see the new store. And just really grateful to you for time. I'm sure. I mean, what's not to love? Now that I'm up in Millbrook, I'm going to see if I can go down to the Greenwich store. I was going to go see some friends there for lunch, but I'd love to do that too. And just thank you so much, Ashley. It was so nice to meet you. So
thank you, Leslie.
Glad that you were on the pod, and I'm excited for our listeners to learn about all of your favorite places and spots in Nantucket.
I mean, everybody has their own, version of what they love about Nantucket. So I hope that this resonates with some of your listeners out there.
I'm sure it will. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ashley.
You have a happy summer.
That brings us to the end of this episode of The Interview. Big thank you again to Ashley McCormick for joining. I really enjoyed talking to Ashley and learning about how Asha got started. Also, really enjoyed hearing about all of her favorite secret special spots on the island of Nantucket. Big thank you, too, to our sponsor, 10 Mile Distillery. 10 Mile has award-winning whiskey and other delicious spirits. Be sure to check them out on their website, 10miledistillery.com. And don't forget, if you put the promo code The Interview in at checkout, you'll get 10% off. Also, a shout out to our additional sponsor, Cozy Earth, who has the most luxurious temperature controlling sheets and pajamas and all kinds of apparel, actually. Be sure to check out their website, cozyearth.com. Interview listeners get 40% off if they use the promo code The Interview at checkout. So be sure to take advantage of that. And thank you all, listeners, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode about Nantucket. If you did, please rate or review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be releasing another episode of our summer series this Friday on Newport, Rhode Island, with the photographer and author Nick Mealy. So be sure to tune in for the Newport episode this Friday. And until Friday, this is Leslie, and thanks so much for joining The Interview.